everybody. This is Jennifer McCulloch with Century 21 High Desert, and I also do the Facebook page, the Love Yourself Project. So I am excited to have Anna along with me today. She is one of my very dear friends, and we are going to talk a little bit about our journey and growing and things that inspire us to continue on that journey and on that path, and a little bit about kind of our lives and things like that. So Anna, I don't know, do you want to introduce yourself and tell them just a little bit about you? And
yeah, I'm Anna Long, and like Jen said, we've been friends for 100 years, so so that's good. But I think in the recent years we've been growing kind of together and on this same path of self-discovery and learning about ourselves and what makes us grow and feel better and do better and serve in life.
I love that.
Yeah.
So here's a little backstory. Anna is actually my inspiration for starting these starting the BeYoutiful Conversations. So Anna and I would get together and we could like meet for coffee and have a 20-minute window. And in that 20 minutes, I felt like we would just like solve all the world's problems, right? Or try to. Like we would just have these really deep dive conversations about real life, real things we were going through, trying to understand all of it, how to overcome different things. And I remember leaving this coffee date that we had, and I always just feel so like full, you know, like your cup just feels so full when we get together. And I thought, oh my gosh, how many other people out there could maybe gain something from our conversations or learn something new, or just realize like, hey, we are just all out there together trying to figure this shit out. And you know, we need each other. Like, so interestingly enough too, so as Anna said, we were friends forever ago, but what's funny is we were not ever really super close friends. So we were kind of more acquaintances, like
through
20
mutual
years
friends
ago. And through a series of events, we actually ran into one another at random downtown one day, and it was like, you know, I think we both kind of had this moment of
I think that was
connection.
probably 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and she told me she was a meditator, and I thought, oh my God. I was so intrigued. Like, it was so like, wow. Well,
I was going through, I had just gone through my divorce, and it was kind of beginning my journey into all of that. And Anna was going through her major life changes and traumas and things happening at the time. And so, yes, meditation was kind of the catalyst. So we ended up getting together and talking about that. And then that evolved into like a meditation course that we took.
A group and a meditation class that we took. And that was also inspiring. And that was kind of just the tip of the iceberg with some self-discovery and learning how to be feel safe and comfortable again after going through a traumatic experience, you know, and a big loss and dealing with grief.
So that was what was interesting, is we were both kind of in very different paths of our lives, but yet there was this thing connecting us for wanting to get through that and finding a healthy way and kind of being on that journey. And so since then, it's kind of always our connecting piece where we can sit down and talk about like fun topics like this, like what inspires us to kind of have that drive to continue forward. So I hope you're okay with me sharing, but one of the things I remember is you talking about, so Anna, it's been, you'll have to remind me how many years, but well, I was actually going to talk about the breast cancer for.
Yes, okay. I have all kinds of tragic crap.
She's had lots of trauma, so awesome. and which makes her all the more inspiring, you know, her life story. And you're welcome to share any of that you wish. But she actually had breast cancer, you know, here a few years ago, and I remember you just talking about, you know, am I being punished and what is going on, you know, why me syndrome, right? And going, okay, now is the time I've got to find these like avenues of spirituality and trying to overcome, all these feelings of fear and grief and stuff.
Anxiety and yeah.
And so what, I guess, when you think back to that process, like what were some of the things that kind of...
Yeah, I haven't thought about that for a while. I think breast cancer absolutely came from the original trauma of losing my husband to suicide when I was 40. So I lost him to suicide, and I thought after I lost him, for a period of time, I thought I was doing well and I was pretty healthy and I was running every day and things were going, like they were going, and then life said, no, you have another gigantic hurdle to jump through. And in that point, I realized I did think, what did I do in a past life to deserve this? Yeah. What, because I thought we kind of like
was the one not enough?
Yeah. Was this not enough? So actually my dad and I went through cancer together, which was also another piece to that puzzle. But in those times, I guess once I was finished with it and kind of looking back and reflecting, it became something like I could go one of two ways. It could be, I could feel sorry for myself and, head down that kind of a path. Or I think when you're in that state of like, this could kill me. Right. You're like, I think I'm going to live my life a little differently because of that deep in my body realization. Yeah.
So because we had actually went through the meditation class together, which was an 8-week long class. So I had already been kind of self-teaching myself meditation and been doing it for a while. And then this class came along and it was 8 weeks and it was with a group, which was a little intimidating. How do you think that helped you?
It's awesome that you bring that up because I haven't thought about it for a while. I haven't, but at the end of that class, I remember saying, I forgive myself because I blamed myself for everything that had happened in my life, and I definitely took on a ton of blame and self-blame. And when I got cancer, I was embarrassed. Of all things, I was embarrassed and I didn't want to tell anyone, and I didn't, which isn't like me. But at the end of that course, I realized, okay, there was a deep sense of forgiveness for myself.
That is so beautiful. I love that you say that because, I have not obviously gone through those traumatic experiences that you have, but yet what's interesting is regardless if it's something as intense as losing a husband to suicide, having breast cancer, or for me, just going through bad life choices and then, a failed marriage and trying to go, how do we live this better life? We still feel shame. We still feel embarrassment. So it's like all the feelings are the same to some degree, and obviously varying levels of grief, of course. But interesting how, to me, the meditation was a way that we both found to kind of dive deep and begin that spiritual journey. And I don't know though, I kind of know with you, you're similar to me, where now it's hard to have the idle chit chat conversation with people. Do you find yourself seeking people to just have deep?
I'd much rather. I want to talk about all of the things, all of the deep, meaningful things. That's why we're here, is to connect with other people about the deep, meaningful things. What makes you keep moving forward? What makes you learn? What makes you want to help others? And that's one big thing with my story. I think it feels weird kind of sharing it sometimes, but I also think if anybody can if anybody can feel without feeling that kind of trauma, that deep, I was a mess. I was a giant mess, but I would love for people to be inspired by that. Yeah. Just, you don't have to have this deep level of trauma in order to level yourself up.
Right.
I guess that's what I'm looking for. You don't have to have a deep a terrible thing happen to you in order to seek a richer, fuller life.
Yeah. Well, and in my opinion, I think too, sometimes when you do seek those things out, like at the time doing the meditation, doing those things, sometimes those are prepping you for other things. So I think that probably did help. So then when the breast cancer came along, it was like, okay, now it's like, now's the time to really hone in on those skills because you need it so much. And like you said, you get to a point, I mean, nobody wants to be forced to make changes in their life, right? Like, I mean, our goal for you, for anyone out there would be to like, find these things now. Like, don't be forced into it. Like, we kind of both were in scenarios of our life.
It was either do that or just fall off the deep edge even further.
Become a complete train wreck. And
yeah.
You say you were a mess, but it's so funny because I look back at all of that and I just remember thinking you were such an incredible inspiration to me because I was like, oh my gosh, if this person can go through all that and still be seeking, you know, joy and happiness and an inner peace, like that's tremendous. Because
I think there were two avenues. I could have done that or not.
It's so true. And I think, you know, at that point in time, like, that's when I think people or things come into your life as, like, it's so weird that we just instantly, it was like right place, right time.
The universe said, oh, you guys have this common thread and, you know, finding other people. So mindfulness and mindful meditation really, truly helps. And there's lots of other things that help too. So we're not all limited to any, you know, coping, you know, whatever you're doing to try to cope to get through. If it's in a healthy manner and it's meaningful to you, then it's not a bad thing.
Right. Yeah. There's not like a one size fits all for anybody. There's different paths to take, and that's very true. Well, I know for me, sometimes like it's easy to get back into a little bit of a lull. Like I haven't been as great about the meditation the last few years. Just, you know, I work and new relationship and all these things kind of have taken over, and now I'm like at a place where like I'm back where I'm making that part of my daily routine. And it's so funny how it's a habit, right? And then you got to recreate it. And it's not like you just wake up and go, oh, this is easy. I just love doing this. You know, I mean, you really have to work at these things, even though you feel passionate about it and you love it. It's an effort.
It's still hard to work that into your day to day. And so, so finding those things, where are the rewards? You know, where are the rewards? And I feel like lately the rewards are in those small little moments when I do feel comfortable and peace. You know, I've gone through a lot of panic and a lot of anxiety and just a crap ton of fear, and knowing what that feels like. So when I can really hone in on those moments where I feel safe and joyful and really like feel that in my heart and in my body, I think that's the piece that, like, trying to hold on to those little minutes and have that very, very specific gratitude and very specific grateful moments. Like, of course, I'm always grateful for my kids and for my family and for, you know, a safe home and that kind of thing. But what I like to do is look at gratitude in a different way. Like, what am I grateful for right now, today? You know, the feeling of the sun or the feeling of a nice warm cup of coffee and it smells really good. And that kind of like, what am I really grateful for very specifically?
Yeah, I think about that a lot, and just especially where I'm at in life now, I am so grateful for the connections and the friendships I have, because all of these people have played a part in my life to get me where I'm at. And those are the people I seek out. And it's interesting because sometimes I felt, you know, there'll be people who want to come and talk to me and have, I think when we have a certain light about us, you know, you draw people to you. And what's difficult for me is then there's those that they're drawn to you, but like they're not in a place of really looking to grow. and change.
And it varies. I think, for like you said, for periods of time, like I was really focused and I would do yoga every day and it helped, squeeze all the sadness just out of my body. Like it just works, it does. You do a turn and then the tears just kind of fall out of your face and it works. But those kinds of things and getting into that habit of doing those, and then it's super easy to get derailed.
Yeah.
For sure. And what derails you. And I think one thing about inspiration is, you hear inspirational stories all the time. And I think that, they'll say, I had this thing happen, this one moment in time. And it's never just one moment. We always have moments every day to hold on to and to kind of see or learn from.
It's almost like you start creating an awareness about the moments that, like you said, they're not just moments. They actually can be something really special if you allow yourself to kind of step back and feel it and see it and honor it.
And honor it. I like honor it. And I think that's like when, what are moments in my day that are good for my nervous system? It's like one of the dinner questions, if you will. Like, what was your favorite thing that happened today? What was a good thing for your nervous system? I can ask my kids, like, but that question is, what made you slow down, calm down, and be aware of your surroundings and the people around you? Because we're just always, our minds are beautiful, glorious things that are just full of stuff. And if you can slow down and find the moments where, this is really good for my nervous system and for my body, and I'm calm with these people in this situation, whatever it is, those are the things to just really latch onto.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and I think it's important to say too, like, it's okay to be going through this and not we're just trying to figure it out as we go, right? Like we never just we've arrived and here we are.
I'm all better, all healed. I know.
Perfect.
I know. I thought that too. Like, I should be healed.
Yeah.
Like after, when you're grieving and after someone dies, after a year you should be healed, right? And that's
all of a sudden you're just gonna wake up one day and go, I've arrived at this place.
Not true.
Yeah. And so I think of you starting. So Anna started. It's Heartstone. And it's a charity or foundation.
It's through the Hospice of Eastern Idaho. So it's a bereavement group for kids aged kindergarten through 18, for kids that have lost a parent or a caregiver or someone that they lived with, someone that has died. And it's been one of the most rewarding things I've ever done.
Well, the thing I love about that is I know when you started that, you're still in the midst of all of that
with my own kids
and grief, and a lot of people would tend to kind of, just sit back and be in their bubble. But I'm not going to get through this unless I can bring something positive out of my situation. So you're still going through it. It's not like you're out there saying, "Hey, I got to figure it out." You're like, "I'm going to do this so that we can bring this community together." To figure it out,
and these kids, I think that was absolutely 100% my motivation. Just watching my kids grieve and losing their dad, and the questions that they asked, and what they thought, and how they were handling this. That was absolutely the number one driver of working with hospice to do that.
That's so cool. And do you think for them then, as kids, because I know we. Well, my question is, as watching them come together with this other community of people who have gone through something similar, do you feel like that helped them work through their grief more so than if they kind of had to just go through it on their own?
Absolutely. And because there's other kids that are grieving too, and that's what we do. I mean, we are social beings. We need each other. And kids do too, just as much as we need to talk. Other kids need to, play together or grieve together. And one of the things in kids group that I really like is that there's no grief is the same, and we never diminish anybody else's grief or our own.
I love that.
So you take ownership for what your own grief is, and you never diminish someone else's grief. So
I love that.
And we do all kinds of exercises and meditations, and they They're super short, but
That's okay. You know what I found? 10 minutes a day
is better than
10 minutes a day is like life-changing. Honestly, if consistently done. And I think, that's a good point to bring up. I think people always think of like meditation, like you got to be sitting in the position and the and all the things. But, honestly, sitting in your car and just closing your eyes and that few minutes, or sitting in a chair, laying down. Like for me, a lot of times laying down is easier than
sitting up.
This
my old body doesn't want to. I don't want to sit like this.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. And again, I think it's noticing yourself and your breath, and realizing that you're safe and you're breathing and you're in your body. You're a beautiful spirit in your body, and that's where you need to be.
I love that so much, and I think the biggest thing that I've learned through this journey is, I guess the thing that would keeps inspiring me to find new ways to grow and new things to grow is like just realizing like, I don't think this life was meant to just exist, if that makes sense. Like, sometimes it can be very mundane, every day, the day-to-day things that we do.
Absolutely.
And it's like to stop and go, we have all this power inside of us, and every so often I get these glimpses of that for myself. And when you do, that's the things that inspire me, like whether it's a book I read, or a class I joined, or a conversation.
Or somebody we get to meet,
Yeah. And those are the moments where it's like, life is meant to be bigger than that. And what's funny is you think bigger, and that doesn't mean you've got to be like Oprah or Ellen or whatever. It's the little interactions that we have, and then being vulnerable enough to share that with other people so that they go, oh, we're not so different.
Yeah.
It's so easy to put one on a pedestal and just go, oh, they got it all figured out, or oh, their life is great. And the thing is, when you really sit and have these deep dive conversations, you realize like, we're just all trying to figure it out.
That's one thing. I think that I really just feel like a lot of people, we're all just kind of leveling up because of that. And because there's this realness that we see more and more of, this day-to-day realness of how we feel and how we think. Yeah. And so there's so much more self-acceptance and empathy for others when it comes to the way that we function and what we all desire. Life is not meant to be just survived. Yeah. There's so much more to it. We're not just surviving.
I love that. We want to thrive.
We do. It's not easy. We do get derailed. That's
why we need each other to kind of, when we're going through those moments,
get us back on.
Because it's hard. Life is hard, and every little choice we make kind of can lead our lives in a different direction. Like I always think back to that first meeting, it had been several years, and we sat down and had a cocktail, and it was like, we just let it flow. It was like, we're going to be vulnerable, we're going to share all the things and not be nervous, and
just be open to a friend. And I think we're all just looking for, happiness and acceptance, and everyone wants to be seen. And to varying degrees. It's not easy. But it sounds simple.
Oh, doesn't it? Well, my recommendation to anybody out there watching this is, if you're kind of like, when there's something inside you that's kind of saying like, I need more, I want more, and you sometimes feel like, I don't know where to look or where to turn. For me, I would say starting with the little things, like find like a meditation on YouTube. Like there's a ton of them. There's a lot of great, Deepak Chopra is one of my favorites, but there's that app, and I'm forgetting the name of it. Headspace.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Headspace is a great one to start with. It kind of walks you through things like that. But I'm trying to think of some resources for people, like if you wanted to step outside of that and get involved in a larger group. Is Bonnie still doing her?
I don't think she is, but one of the primary tools that I started with, and I think we did this in the backyard sangha when we had the meditation. The backyard, it was John Kabat-Zinn's mindfulness practices. So, and that was
Was it
John Kabat-Zinn is it's
a book or an
it's
app?
a book.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a book, and there's a few YouTube videos, I'm sure, but I did start with that book, and that was kind of the the basis for everything. And it's so fascinating to me because there's so much science backing meditation and mindfulness and breathing exercises and what that does for our nervous systems and helps us so much there's a ton of it's absolutely legit. Yeah.
What was his name again?
John Kabat-Zinn, mindfulness.
Okay.
I'll have to get you the book. I don't remember. I'll find it. It's in my closet.
We'll find it.
It's buried in my closet. I did it a long time ago. This is good. See, we're revisiting. I'm inspired to open up that book again.
I know, it's funny. It's like hard to look back and go, how did I get how did we get this start? And what are the steps I took? And
I think we're all like, you're practicing and I'm practicing and, off and on and off and on. And then you need people to kind of like come back to that because it's easy to lose sight.
Yeah.
So.
And I think also with that, a key thing, like you were such an integral part of my moving forward and finding a relationship and being in a comfortable space with that and what I was looking for. And we've had a lot of conversations about that. And I think finding people, I think what happens a lot of times, people go out and you want to talk to a lot of people and you're getting all this advice and it's not coming from a place of ill being, but I think the key is finding the people who really are also like on a road of growth and self-exploration, because you'll find you don't need to talk to all these people about your stuff because there's too many people that kind of like, I want to join in on a pity party or I want to be a victim of this. And you really need the people who are going to kind of be like, hey, first of all, like snap out of this. We're not going to let you have a pity party.
Don't stay in that space, but also honor that space.
Yeah.
Honor yourself. And you said it, the key is this self-exploration. So what it is that you need is, going to be different from what I need, but we can absolutely support each other in that growth.
And I think it's been finding the right people for that, because sometimes you'll find it may not be your best friend since high school, or it might not be your mom, or it's like
it's always my mom.
Well, yeah,
I'm the best mom.
I love that so much. I love that so much. And sometimes it is, right? It's true. Like, but I mean, just like kind of listening, like taking a breath and being aware and thinking about the person you're talking to and how you feel when you leave the conversation.
Yes. And
it always goes back to, how do you feel when you leave that conversation? Like, is this someone who's trying to help you kind of move forward and
Are you both cup fillers? Are you cup fillers for each other? Like, is that, I find that we've had that. Like, I leave thinking, I'm just happy and I feel good again too, as much as you do. And that's what, finding those cup fillers. Yeah. For sure.
And I think the other thing too is like we laugh at ourselves. Like we can tell each other the crazy. We've had some dating stories.
That's a blast. Yeah.
We can literally laugh at ourselves and just kind of work through that. And it's such a safe.
And I think that's a part of it too. And I just really I pray that everybody can find friends like that and find those those safe places to have. And I mean, and friends are just as important as any of those other relationships, and so find them and nourish them.
Absolutely.
It's for sure.
Well, we will make sure that we post something on here about Heartstone in case anybody is curious about that and wanting more information.
Always can reach out to me.
The link and the website and stuff. But I'm just so grateful for this human that has come into my life, because seriously just changed everything for me in so many ways. And like I said, my inspiration for kind of starting to do this these videos with with different people, and Anna's probably going to be somebody you will see a lot of with videos, because
we have lots of fun.
We have lots of things to talk about.
All of the deep topics. Let's get weird. Let's get taboo.
We don't talk about like makeup and hair and stuff. Maybe a little bit.
I was fine, but
yeah. But anyway, well, thank you so much for being here with me. And I don't know, any last little
Well, it just warms me so much to know that I was an inspiration for you. That's the goal. That makes me really glad. At the very least, there's so many people out there that just want to be seen and find goodness again, and it's there.
It's there. I love that. It's there. You can find it.
It is
You just have to want to find it.
Yeah.
And it's all around us. I realize when we choose to see it.
Yeah, so, it's there. Yeah. It's not easy, but it's there.
Well, all the power is inside of you. I can tell you that, and it's inside of us. And anyway, I love you all, and I hope that whoever needed to see this or hear this has found it. And thanks for watching. Have a beautiful day.
Have a beautiful day.
Bye.